Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I am back in Rooms of Wonder and we are going to finish off this beautiful forest library. I am so excited to show you this final part. I'm seriously so happy with how this turned out. Advantage with this last part is that we have lots of little things to colour, so it's not something that's long and tedious, which is great. So I'm using my Faber-Castell Polychromos as usual. I will also be using my Derwent Drawing Chinese White, and I'm thinking of also bringing in a little bit of Posca, and I'm also using my 05 Sakura White Gelly-Roll. Now I realized that I'd forgotten to do this little key up the top here, so I'm just quickly going in here and finishing off this key. That way most of the tree is done and we won't accidentally forget and leave it off. So we'll do the key and then I'll go down the bottom and we'll finish off all the things. And I'm also going to do with the chair today, I'm going to change it into a Chesterfield chair, one of those like almost like an ear lap chair, which is really exciting, bringing back lots of childhood memories for me. So I'm hoping that you will follow along with me today and have some fun doing it. Alright, we are ready to start down the bottom here. I'm going to start out with that little book that's hanging over the vine, and then I'm going to move on down to all the little mushrooms and everything down the bottom. I'm really excited for these. They are so pretty and I'm looking forward to trying to make them blend sort of into the background and look as natural as possible. So for these little top mushrooms here, I'm going to go in with a grey tone first, just to get a little bit of like an underlay underneath, and that will help tone down the colours that I put on top so they're not so bright. I kind of want them to look really sort of earthy and natural, and I will also be going over them later on with my Sakura Gelly-Roll to remove the outlines and just really make them sort of fade into the background a bit. So I've decided to go in with my Caput Mortem Violet. I really like this colour for these sort of earthy tones because it sort of gives a little bit of a hint of that violet, but it's not like overpowering. I think it works out really well on these mushrooms, just to give it a little bit of a hint of something there. And then as we darken things up and everything and remove those outlines, I reckon they're going to look really nice. going to start on these little toadstools now in the front. And just because I happen to have these little grey tones out already, I'm going to use those on the little, what is it called? Is it a stem? Or is it a trunk? I'm not sure, but the stem of the mushroom anyway. So I'm starting with the same, just like I did with the top mushrooms. I'm just going to start out with a layer of grey, just to give a little bit of a base, and then I'm going to go in with some darker grey tone and maybe some brown tones, I think. And for the little mushroom tops, I'm definitely going to go nice and bright red. Toadstools are really bright in real life anyway, so it's still going to look really cool. So for the tops, I'm thinking of using the deep red, maybe the dark red, and possibly the scarlet red as well. And for the little dots on them, I'll probably use some grey tones and then go over either with Sakura or with a Posca pen just on top to add a highlight, just to make it look like these little dots are standing out a bit. I do hope you're enjoying this video today. If you are, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. It helps spread it out to a wider audience so someone else that might enjoy it can follow along as well. And if you're new here and you'd like to see more of this kind of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified if you click the little notification bell whenever I post new content. I've said it before, but with your reds, choose, if you want to do shadows in there, go and choose a brown tone. You might find that it looks a little bit more natural and it sort of helps to fade into it a little bit more if you don't want a really harsh shadow. So I'm just going in and just adding in this walnut brown, just sort of here and there to make it a little bit darker where I want some more shadows to be. So I'm going to add this warm grey 4 to the little white spots first, and then I'm going to go on the top half and just remove that little top black line on the dots with a Posca pen, and that will sort of give that highlight up the top and have a dark shadow down the bottom, and it'll make it look like these little dots are standing out a little bit. I'm going to go in with a little bit of black just underneath these little dots, just to add a little bit more shadow. And as you can see, it really makes these little dots here pop out a little bit more. So they definitely look like they are poking out of the mushrooms and not lying completely flat. Alright, it's time to do that little background that's left here. I'll do the same thing on both sides, so do the right hand side of the picture as well, that little mini hill in front of the tree on that side. Do exactly the same as I'm doing here. That way you don't have to go ahead and remember what you're doing afterwards. You can just do each step with each pencil on both sides as you're doing them. I would love to know, if you were in this beautiful little forest library, what book would you be reading? Pop it down in the comments below because I'd love to hear what your favorite books are. Now, I am a total nerd for Harry Potter books and anything Jane Austen, so I'd say I would be reading one of those. I'd say maybe a Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility or a Harry Potter book of some sort. Alright, I'm not quite done with that little grassy background, but I just want to do these little grassy bits that pokes out in the foreground here. So again, do the same on the opposite side as well. Just get all of the grass that you see, same underneath the chair. Get all of these little grassy bits done just same way as I'm doing them now. I'm going to go ahead and do these little daisies that poke up here. Now, because it's sort of a dark-ish night, I'm going to go in with grey tones. I'm also going to probably bring in a little bit of the green from our background there, and possibly some blue tones as well, just because they're not going to look white when it's a dark night. They'll probably bring up a lot of the colours from the background. So I'm just adding in a little bit of that May green, I think, just to some of these leaves, or the little petals, and then I'll do the leaves. And I will also be using my Sakura Gelly-Roll for this one and just erase those black outlines, and that will make it look not so harsh against the background. Now, as I'm colouring all of these little leaves and foliage down the bottom here, just keep going and do the same thing on anything that looks similar. Doesn't matter if they're not completely identical, just if you find similar foliage just on the other side of the page, just keep going with whatever colours I'm using here. I just really want to see how this is going to turn out with the Posca, not the Posca, the Sakura Gelly-Roll. So I'm just going to go ahead and do these little flowers and the mushrooms in this corner, and that will give us an idea what the rest will look like as well. So as I said, just go ahead and finish off all the leaves that are underneath the chair and on the other side of the paper, and then we're going to get started on the little birds, I think. Now this little bird is quite small, so I'm not going to go too crazy with the colors, but I have the little, I think it's called a blue tit, and they are so cute. I remember we get them in Norway, and you see them especially in winter because we always used to leave out food for the birds in winter, and we used to sit there and watch them outside the windows. So I thought being that I'm bringing in the Chesterfield chair as a bit of a nostalgic childhood memory, I thought I'll do the same with the birds. Alright, so since I'm in this general area, I've decided I'm going to just go ahead and get started on this chair. So as I mentioned, I've taken inspiration from the Chesterfield chairs. I'm sure you've all you've all seen them, and if you haven't, just Google them and you will know exactly what I mean. And I'm going with the ones that have that almost like a cherry red kind of leather to them. So I'm going to go in with the red violet as my undertone, and then I'll probably bring in, I'm thinking the deep or the dark red and some black. That will be the only ones. I think it's a dark red that I'll use, and that will be the only 3 colors that I'm going to use on this, and I'll just keep layering them until I feel like it's a good match. Now when I was looking at these, I'm just trying to sort of get a bit of a reference photo happening. What I noticed is wherever there is a bit of a highlight, it's nearly completely white. So I'll probably use a little bit of my Derwent Drawing Chinese White as well to blend a little bit there, and then just to leave sort of some areas nearly completely white, wherever especially where the light is shining on it, and wherever the leather is sort of poking out more. So it's got these little buttons that are sort of sewn into it, so around those it will definitely be darker. So I'll try to make it look like it's really goes in where those little buttons are, make lots of shadows around there, and then have the areas in between looking lighter. Now with this Chesterfield chairs and sofas and everything, on the little armrest at the very front of them, they have this extra little, like an insert almost. So I'm going to just draw that in here. So it kind of goes sort of in a bit like this, and then it goes up and around just a little bit. It doesn't completely go all the way. So I'm just sort of marking that out now just with my pencil, and then I will obviously darken this up as we go along, but that will sort of show me where I need sort of really dark shadows to be, and I'll thicken that up a little bit more as well. And as we go, I've also noticed that the outer area of this, so not that inner bit that I'm colouring now, but that just the side bits, they have like little folds, so the leather is kind of folded all the way up and around, so it'll make sense when you'll see what I do a bit later. I'll make those sort of lines in just so it makes it look like the leather is sort of folded and scrunched up a little bit. I think scrunched is almost a better word for this. I'm going to go in with my black now, and I'm actually going to start going in darker, especially here on these armrests. They do get pretty dark on every photo that I've seen, and I'm just adding in these little lines just sort of where I want those scrunchy areas to be. So I'm just trying to sort of make sure that it looks like it's little folds, little scrunches just sort of around this area. I'm also going to start adding some general shadows. I know I usually say, you know, don't go for black straight away, but with this particular chair you definitely need to. The dark areas on these chairs are really, really dark, especially with this particular colour. So all the shadows that I've seen are like nearly completely black on these sort of, especially where those sort of buttons go in, and it's really going to make it look like you have that dimension of these buttons being pushed into the chair to make like a little hole, if you want. It goes in, so I'm going to just try to make it look like it does that. So as you can see, I just keep layering, I keep going back and forth between my colors, adding a little bit more shadows here and there, and then layering with some of the red tones and the red violets again. And I'm just sort of trying my best just to sort of build up that shadows and build up those dimensions. So I'm not going in obviously too harsh, I'm going in with a light, still a very light hand. But I really wanted to eventually look quite natural. So to make this look natural and uniform, I've decided to make it look like those holes are right where that blanket is coming down. So I'm making sure that I add those shadows there as well, just sort of on the edge of that blanket, because if not it looks like it's nothing there and it just doesn't it doesn't work. So just make sure that you add that little bit of extra shadow just where that blanket comes down, so it looks like there's another button just underneath. Alright, I reckon I'm starting to get to a point where I'm happy with this, It does definitely look lighter on camera than what it does in real life, so I'm hoping you've gotten to a point where you find that you have enough sort of saturation. So once I've done this sort of part here, I'll go ahead and just do the pillows. If I feel like I need to add any more color on the chair, I might do that later on, not sure yet. But let's get onto these little pillows here. I didn't want to do them too crazy, mainly because I want the chair to kind of be the focal point, not the pillows and the blanket. So I'm just going to do them in a fairly neutral tone, and that front pillow I'll just make some little red stripes because I already got that little checkered pattern on there, so I'll just make those little lines in red. So for this little standing flower lamp here, I've decided to go in gold. Every library needs a gold, some sort of lamp, I think. So I'm just doing this with my light yellow ochre, and then I'm going to be using some little brown tones, thinking some burnt sienna maybe, and we'll see how dark we go. Clearly, obviously, because it's got a light on there, I'm not going to go crazy dark on it, because it's got that light source that will definitely highlight everything. So I'm trying to leave a bit of white space, so we'll see where we end up with it. So this little bird on top of the books, I've decided to make it a little robin. So I'm just going to use a bit of scarlet red, I'm thinking, and just I'm going to leave the face, I think, fairly light. I might even leave a bit of white paper on there, and then just use a little bit of brown tones, because they're so small, these little birds, so you can't go too crazy. Just make sure you have a little bit of lights and shades in there, and just leave it at that. So for this little lamp, it looks like a little oil lamp. I'm just gonna do it like the glass top there. So I'm not gonna go too crazy on any colors or anything. And then I'll just do the bottom part in my gold tones. So I'll just make this sort of, use the cream and then maybe like a lighter sort of yellowish shade. I'm thinking maybe the Naples yellow. I think, yeah, Naples yellow I think will be a good one for this. And then I will go ahead afterwards and just remove those black outlines just to make it look like it's glass. Just add a little bit of black shadows to this lamp, and I'll also go ahead and add a little bit more shadows to that stack of books. And then I'm going to move ahead onto those little, well, they're sort of fungi that sits on the tree stump and the tree on the right hand side as well. So I'll do all of those. Alright, so when I was sort of looking up those little fungi things here that sits on the tree, I found one that looked almost exactly like the color we have on our chair. So I thought, well, that's perfect. So I will go ahead and sort of do it a little bit like that. I'm just going to mute it down just slightly by using that Caput Mortuum Violet underneath, and then we'll build up a little bit more color. And I found also with those that the highlighted area was nearly completely white, so I'll make that on the sort of the top edge, and then I'll have the dark area, the shadows, down the bottom. Now there are 3 of these, so just do them all together. The top one is outside of the camera, but it looks exactly the same, so just do exactly what I'm doing on this one here right now. So for this tree stump here, I'm going to start out exactly what I did with our trees in part 1. So I'm just going to do a full layer of the nougat to start out with. But because this one's got lots of little grooves and things, I want to go ahead and just get a lot of shadows happening in there just to make it really look like it's old, and it's got all these little crinkles and little grooves and lots of, so it's an old, clearly an old tree that was chopped down for some reason, which now makes an excellent reading table. So as you can see, I'm just really trying to get the lights and the darks happening with this little stump. So up where the lamp is, I'll make it, just keep it really light, but I'm trying to get lots of shadows happening in these special little grooves, and I will definitely do sort of a darker area on the right hand side, I think, because obviously that's the opposite side to that lamp. So we'll make that one really nice and dark. Alright, it's definitely time to bring out some black in here and just really darken things up. Don't be afraid of sort of really get into those, where you see those lines, those are perfect to add lots of shade into, so it looks like you sort of going in, there's like little crinkles and everything in there. So don't be afraid to really put your shade in. So I'm going to go in with my Derwent Drawing Chinese White and do a bit of a smooshing together here, you know, technical terms, and especially sort of on my highlights here, I'm just trying to blend it out a little bit, and then I'm going to go over things again just and get a little bit more shadings in, and then I think we are nearly to the point where I'm happy with this. finished with the stump, I'm going to go ahead and do these two little mushrooms on the side, and I'm also going to do the door in very similar colors, so I'll do these pretty much at the same time now. I thought like a little red fairy door, I thought that would be a nice one. Now we'll go ahead a bit later and do the like the Posca pen on those little spots again, but I just want to get all of these little bits and pieces done first, and I'll probably do the Posca details on everything all at once at the end. It's jelly roll time. We have actually finished all of our little bits and pieces here. We are just putting on the final little details. Now, I just have to say, I did forget to show you the little stars up the top. There are some little visible stars in the night sky there. I just did those in the cream tone, so there's no need to do anything particularly special with those. And if you want, you can add some little white dots and things, like little sparkles in the sky, if you want to. Done with all these little white details. As I mentioned, you can go ahead and add either with this one or a Sakura, no, not a Sakura, a Posca up in the sky. But there you go, here is the final reveal with the little outlines. I just did the outline in a black Posca pen, So as you can see, I didn't show that. I completely forgot about it, and I started editing the video and just went, oh my goodness. And I just added a black Posca sort of around the edges. So here it is. I am so in love with this picture. It's probably one of my most favorite ones I've ever done, and I hope you enjoyed following along too. So thank you all for being here today. I wish you all a colourful day, and I will see you again next time.